What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of the 1/4 Careers Podcast. Here, we strive to help you identify the career path that's right for you, ultimately contributing to at least 1/4 of your overall happiness. I'm Xavier, your host, and I am here with Kris. Kris graduated from Alabama A&M University, my alma mater, with a Bachelor of Science in Special Education Collaborative 6th through 12th in 2022. This December, Kris will be graduating with his master's in education with a focus on instructional technology and media design. His master's also includes a certificate in leadership. Now, Kris works as a special educator in the Fulton County School District. Kris, welcome to the pod. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, man?
Man, it's so good to see you, bro. I really appreciate you stopping by the pod. I know we've had plenty of convos before and just really excited to kind of get this on camera, bro, so a lot of people can kind of see what you got cooking down there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I already know a little bit about you. Obviously, you're my ace. And I kind of want to hear from you more about your background as it pertains to where you are now. What in your background prepared you for where you are?
Humble beginnings. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I started my collegiate career at NIU. I ended up transferring to Alabama A&M on a full ride academic scholarship. And just that's how I got to where I'm at now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So you work in special education. I don't know much about special education. I feel like a lot of people don't know about education in general. We know that educators are underpaid. So I'll call that out, number one, just from the little that I do know. But share a little bit more about what is it like working as a special educator, working in the field, and what do you do?
Oh, man. So special education, truthfully, special education is a beast. A lot of people don't know the preparation that goes in and out of an IEP, a learning plan, the team that it consists of, some of the rigors of the work. It's a lot that goes into special education behind the scenes that most people don't get a chance to see or evaluate. And one thing I want to point out with special educators are, if you are a special educator and a case manager, you may have more than 5 kids or more than 6 kids that you are responsible for the entire school year. So that's what some people forget. I'm not responsible just for one kid. I have a whole caseload of kids that I have to take care of.
I really appreciate you for describing what you do as a special educator. Now I'm interested in knowing, what was your career path that led you to special education? What was that journey like for you?
It was confusing. When I was at NIU, initially, I wasn't an education major. I was in athletic training. I was in physical therapy. I was kind of all over the place trying to figure out what was for me and what wasn't for me. So when I came to A&M, I met a lady named Dr. Carmuch. And when I met with her, she was over education department. So she talked to me about the math, the science, the reading, the special education, and the foreign languages and all the different areas of education that it encompasses. And I asked her to learn more about special education. I don't know what drove me to that, but once I told her that and she said, if it's in your heart, it's for you, that really resonated with me, because she said most people don't ask to learn about a job so rigorous and less rewarding. So that's ultimately what kind of like pushed me to go to special education when I started doing my research.
Yeah. Tell me more about that research. What is it that you found that really kind of struck something in your core that solidified the fact that special education is for you?
When I was doing my research, I came across different like stats, data, statistics, things like that. And I started to see a trend of African American kids being overrepresented in special education classrooms. And that kind of pushed me to want to figure out why. So special education kids typically always get the short end of the stick. So I wanted to go back in my community and figure out how can I help those kids achieve what they need to achieve to go on in life. For some of those kids, that's all the education that they're going to get for some of the rest of their life. So I wanted to impact some of that education as best as I could.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And being in the special education space, what are some of the skills, certifications that you've observed are really important for a person to be able to thrive in the special education field?
Um, as an educator, I never diminished learning. Learning was something that I had to really sit down and understand that you're never going to stop learning. Education is something that's always evolving. The school system's always evolving. It's nothing that you're going to ever master. Like, you get master degrees in it, but you won't ever master how to be a good educator, how to be the perfect special educator. It's just so much that goes into it. So I used to sit down. I used to go to my boss office, and I shout out to them, Miss Combs, Miss Gant, um, Miss G. I used to sit down and just pick their brain and just ask them questions about how do I do certain things. So with special education, every kid is unique in itself. Every
Yeah.
kid has his own IP, his own disability, his own learning, purposes, strengths, weaknesses. So I had to really sit down and understand how can I figure out the best practices for each kid and get them what they need and meet them where they at.
Yeah. Look, man, as a new dad myself, I'm a new pops, bro. Like,
Congrats,
very,
congrats.
I appreciate that. Very sensitive. And I feel like I've always been, since I feel like I've had really good professors, good teachers, man, like doing that work when you acknowledge and you talk about some of the customization that's needed for each child, it's really hard, I imagine, to do that in an education environment. So shout out to you and shout out to all teachers, because I think it's extremely important. Like, you all are grooming the next wave of leaders and just human beings. So I think that's really cool. So I appreciate you kind of sharing that, how, it's not just mass production of education plans, of IEPs, as you call it, which is a new word I learned about recently. So I think that's really fascinating. Another question I have for you is, you talked about your path to special education.
Mhm.
You talked about some of the skills. I'm curious about, what are some organizations, associations, if any, that you feel are important in connecting a person to special education or to education in general, or any associations or organizations a person can join to hopefully develop skills that will set them up to succeed in the education field?
Um, so me personally, I wasn't able to get access to any of those organizations, and I don't want to go and start talking about this one, and just
Yeah.
don't get nobody there, you know. But there is one specifically that somebody he's gonna kill me. Torrance gonna kill me. The Thurgood Marshall has they have a education program,
Okay.
and it's a retention program. So they do like different classes, different workshops. He been trying to get me to go for years, and I haven't went yet. So I'm gonna go to it. I promise you, I'm gonna go to the workshop one of these years. I'm gonna go.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, Thurgood Marshall College Fund. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because I was a huge beneficiary of Thurgood Marshall College Fund for a few years and really admire the organization. Went to the Leadership Institute a few times. The work that Thurgood Marshall College Fund does is indescribable. And I'm sure they would say, no, it's describable. There are stats, which there is plenty there. But TMCF is always in my heart. The opportunities that they give teachers, the opportunities that they give people of all backgrounds, supporting 140 plus public HBCUs, and probably even more than that. They have a ton of immersion programs. So for anybody out there, Thurgood Marshall College Fund, look it up,
Try it out.
try it
Look it
out. You
up.
feel me?
Look
Got
it up,
to.
man.
Nah, for real. I really appreciate that. So we've covered a lot. Something I'm really interested in knowing, because
Mhm.
your experience, like, you through college, through your journey of figuring out what you want to study, you're extremely curious. So I know all the conversations you've had to try to learn stuff. Of everything that you've learned, if you could go back and talk to yourself in undergrad, what advice would you give yourself to prepare yourself for being a special educator, since it's so rigorous and you've been through so much already? What advice would you give yourself?
Oh man. Wow. Um. What advice would I give the younger me? Um. I would tell the old version of myself, be patient. You're not gonna figure it all out. Um,
Yeah.
when you really truly love something and you're passionate about something, you want to be perfect at it. You want to be putting your best foot forward. And with education, it's something that every day is gonna look different. So as long as you're trying and you're giving 100% each and every day you step foot in that classroom, you're
Mm.
fine. You don't want to go in there trying to perfect everything or trying to master it, because truthfully, that's just one of the arts you won't never master. You just won't ever master the same thing because it's an evolving game.
Yeah. That's really powerful, man. Being someone who I feel has been described as type A, where you're trying to be a perfectionist, it really speaks to patience and it also speaks to grace. A lot of times, coming from where we come from, we feel like we're trying to represent all Black people, or we feel like we're putting all of our aspirations of helping our people on our back. And, we really want to maximize our impact. And I think that being patient, being grateful for the process, trusting yourself, and being proud of you putting forth 100%, whatever that percentage looks like for you every day, I think that's really telling. And I think that that is a very mature piece of advice to give. And I think the earlier people take that advice, the better. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you kind of mentioning that, because it also kind of speaks to the passion that a lot of people have stepping into the education space. For you to feel that way, stepping into the classroom every day, feeling as though you're giving your all and not being complacent, it's very telling. And I'm sure there are so many other educators who can relate to that. So I think that's really dope, bro. I think it's really cool. So I know that you're destined for greatness, right? I know that you're destined for advancement, upward mobility,
Mhm.
if you will. For someone who's interested in special education or the education field, what can they expect of what a career path looks like in education? Is it cookie cutter, straight and narrow? Is it case by case? How would you describe some of that upward mobility of going from one role, progressing to the next, and a certain journey a person could anticipate?
So with education, it's a plethora of jobs that serves as like leadership, committees and teams. It's
Mhm.
so many different things you could really talk about. But typically, a career path for an educator would go as you would go as an educator. Then you may apply to be a department chair. Then you might be a coach, instructional coach for
Mm.
that department. So you might be able to hold the science department or the whole social studies department. And then that's when you would start trying to go into like either curriculum or assistant principal, then principals, and then superintendents. And then you go to the district if you want. And then for the district, you could be over certain curriculums and developmental programs for a content area and things like that.
Mm.
So that's just typically how it goes. It's so many different ways you could possibly take education depending on what your end goal is. Everybody end goal isn't to be a principal.
Okay.
Um, everybody end goal isn't, to work at the district level. So it just depends on where you want to go and where you see yourself best fit.
Okay. And if I may ask, how would you describe some of your interests of different directions that you are interested in?
Man, I'm torn. So this is
Okay.
something I sit down and talk to a few people about. A guy that I work with right now, his name Nicholas Collins. Shout out Nicholas Collins. He's been a real aid in helping me figure out how to do the things that I'm truly called to do and putting
Yeah.
everything together.
Yep.
Um, so for me personally, I'm interested in curriculum development, consulting, teaching teachers, teaching principals, working for the district level. I'm interested in that aspect. I wouldn't mind being a principal, and I don't mind it. Um, that's me talking now. I don't know a lot about it, of course, but
Mhm.
that I'm not saying I'm running from it, but truthfully, I would want to be some form of a consultant or some form of a district level coach that coaches their employees and puts the best employees in front of those kids. That's
Yeah.
kind of like where I'm at.
I love it. I love it. I have a great appreciation for hearing what greatness looks like and sounds like in different arenas. Because there's a commonality between all of it, bro. Like we all are trying to be the best that we can be and maximize impact and serve others, right? So
Mhm.
That's really cool for me. Now, with your approach to your profession, the passion, the rigor, the interest, the sincerity, the humility, can go on and on. Who inspires you in your profession or in life?
Um, in my life, my mom, my dad, my sister, my nieces, my nephews. I love them. They keep me going. In my profession, it's a lot of good people that I work with, but people who I often lean on, like knocking at their door, texting them, calling
It
them.
is.
Collins, Mr. Maxwell, Miss Combs, Miss Clark Harmon, Miss Gant. Truthfully, they've made my transition into becoming a teacher a lot easier, opposed to if I had nobody.
Okay.
I couldn't imagine not having some of those people in my corner kind of helping me out,
Mm,
because if it wasn't for them, I probably would have lost my mind, man. But
man.
they are so good at what they do that they helped me get to where I'm at. So I owe them a lot.
So
So kudos to them.
I'm hearing family, I'm hearing mentorship or board of
Yes.
directors in a way,
Hmm.
which really helps with retention. It helps with landing and expanding. It helps with you being able to be resilient and face the adversity that comes naturally with any job when you graduate and you go into a
Yeah.
new field. Like you trying to figure everything out. Like,
Exactly. So
yeah,
it's definitely one of those things. It's the truth behind that saying, you only as strong as your team. And I
yes,
must
sir.
say, the team that God has put around me, I
Yeah,
wouldn't trade them for the world. They are tremendous to me and my success, and I owe them like
yeah,
I owe them a lot, because you don't come across a lot of genuine people who truly care about you and care about what's going on. And I can truly say the people that I've named, they genuinely care about the success of me and helping people. That's genuinely what they do. They love to help people, and they never turn me away. And me coming into a profession, graduating college, them
yeah.
taking a chance on me, that really means a lot to me.
Hey, I always tell people, especially my mentors, I feel one of the biggest compliments I can give you is I promise to pay it forward, right? I promise to help multiply your impact upon me. So I know you'll do the same, bro. I only have one question left for you, man. This was rich. This was a blessing to hear
Mhm.
your experience, and I'm curious if you have any advice, tips that you want to leave the people with in life, professionally, whoever you feel you're speaking to in the audience. What do you want to leave the people with?
Um, the power of networking.
Okay.
The power of networking. They always say it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so kind of going back a little bit, I was in a position where I was able to network, and that's how I was able to get into Fulton County. How I was able to get into Fulton County, because I was able to network. So I definitely strongly recommend, you get out there, talk to people, you meet people, you smile, and you just have a good time and just enjoy the moment. Just talk. You never know who has what to offer you.
Man, that's brilliant, bro. And
Yeah.
I have another add-on to it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So I don't know where I was inspired to think of it this way or where I've heard it. I don't take credit for it. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. It's not about
Hmm.
who you know, it's about who knows you. It's not about who knows you, but it's about who knows you for what reason, which really just
Mm.
goes down the
Mm.
layers of like not being complacent and thinking that once you have something checked off the box, that you got it all figured out or that you're in the prime position to reap the benefits of your work. So just because you know a lot of people, be intentional and don't just network for the sake of doing it. But keep in mind, are you leaving people and spaces better than when you came? So
Right.
it's really important to kind of keep that in mind too, which I know is something that you've harped on, you've talked about, you've been a walking testimony for. So I think that is amazing. Couldn't have chosen that to be advice to leave with the people any better. And man, all I can say is I really appreciate you stopping by, my brother. And as we talked about, we finally made it happen. We talked about it for a while and we finally made it happen.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you helping make this great.
No, I appreciate you, man. It was an honor to be a part of the show, the podcast. I know
Yeah.
this podcast gonna do some big things,
Ah,
and I'm here to enjoy. I'm here to watch it, and I'm just supportive of my brother, man.
man, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for stopping by, bro.
No problem, man.
Cool. Well, folks, I really appreciate y'all for watching another episode of the 1/4 Careers podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, share feedback, share questions you have. Click the notifications icon if you want to see more videos like this coming out. And this was an amazing episode with my brother, my line brother, my ace. Shout out to DG, man. And thanks again for stopping by, family. I just leave y'all with stay happy, stay blessed. Peace.